congratulations, you guys made it. You guys are now in the intermediate class. There's some perks to being a purple belt. You get to break boards, you spar a lot more, you also get to wear a black gi that distinguishes you that you're not a beginner anymore, now you're an intermediate. Also, you go into either the Tiger Cub class or the intermediate junior class. Just look on the schedules and you guys will be ready. That class is a little bit longer, it's a little bit stronger of a workout. And let's get started. We're going to be doing one pinion today, your first form. We're going to hit up some combinations. And when we do board breaking today, we're actually going to demonstrate. Okay, let's have some fun with our board, with our purple belt material.
Okay, we're going to be doing our blocking systems for purple belt now. Now the closed-handed blocks and strikes are going to be the same that we did at yellow belt, but we're going to reverse the hand that we actually strike with, just to work on your coordination a little bit. It'll help you with your sparring, since that's what we're going to be starting to do at this rank. All right, so let's get right into it. Good front position we start in, as always, telling the instructor you're ready. And right foot out, we stepped out, there! Good, and here we go. Same block as before. I do block number 1, now my strike comes with the opposite hand. Now when I do number 2, same exact thing. I block, and then I strike. Block number 3 comes right across, back punch, just like before. 4, block and strike. Block number 5 comes up, and what's the name of that strike? Side hammer strike. Ready? Number 6, I block up, side hammer strike. Here comes block number 7. I block and throw the front punch or the rising sun fist, and then I go right to number 8 where I block, and bam, there's my rising sun fist. So you'll notice it's the same exact blocking system that you've had in the past. We're just doing the order a little bit. One hand blocks, one hand strikes. Very good job. Okay, let's get started with our hand strikes to this belt. First strike I want to get going with is our backhand. We're going to start into our fighting stance, hands up on guard. Backhand actually is generally used with your lead hand or your front hand. In my case right now is my left hand. I want you to bring your hand to your opposite ear, and you're going to extend your hand out. Now the point of contact right now is actually going to be the 2 knuckles that I actually strike with my front 2 knuckle punch, or the rising sun fist actually, the back of your hand. Right now I'm aiming for the temple, side of the jaw. Okay, when we get to combination 18 later on, that's actually the first strike that we're using that technique. It happens to be a great sparring technique, especially when you're doing point sparring. So my hands will be on guard, and I'll extend my hand out and come right back. It's a very quick strike. So as you're moving around with somebody, you're going to flick the strike out and come right back. If you key eye during sparring, you could startle the person, get a quick point, steal a quick point. Okay, our second hand strike is actually going to be the ridge hand. There's 2 ways to throw our ridge hand. And actually, believe it or not, when you get to blue stripe, you'll see that you'll use both of those techniques in that combination, in combination number 10 at blue stripe. But we're going to show one of them right now. Ridge hand is used with this part of my hand, right in here, the opposite side where I would throw a chop. I'm going to tuck my thumb in, keep my fingers together, and again, the meat of my hand is actually what I want to strike with. I'm going to angle it slightly down. Now, a ridge hand works great face, throat, think like a clothesline. Okay, running right into a clothesline. Someone comes running in, and you step off to the side, and you're going to throw your ridge hand so they run right into it. Or maybe someone's a little bit farther away, so after I get into my number 7 or 8 block, I'm going to step in, bam, and throw a ridge hand. Very important, your arm is not locked out. It's not straight when you throw that strike. Kids, when you start hitting those bigs and your arm is straight, you can possibly hurt your elbow. So you got to get a slight bend in there. Make sure the thumb is tucked in. Look at your target, and then go slowly. Extend with that part of your hand and bring it right back on guard. Next strike, rising elbow. Rising elbow can actually be thrown 2 different ways. We could do it more of a forward motion, hitting to the stomach, so it's slightly going up and forward, or we go right up to someone's chin. Keep in mind you got to be very, very close when you're throwing this strike. In fact, when we do some of our grab techniques, a rising elbow works beautifully. All right, I'm going to be aiming for underneath someone's chin. My hands are on guard. And I want you to think of throwing a punch behind you. But that's not the point of contact. The point of contact is the elbow. So here comes my hand coming behind me. My hand goes past my head, and there's that elbow right up to someone's jaw. As you do that, turn your hip, rise that arm up, and exhale. Exhale as you throw that strike. So my hands are up, and right back, right up to someone's jaw. Happens to be a very interesting board break to do with that also. Great for tournaments. Last strike, dropping elbow. Here we go. You're learning this one in combination 18 as well. Dropping elbow, I want you to be careful when you start practicing at this home. Make sure you're definitely using a bag. It's not something to toy around with. All right, if you have to protect yourself in the schoolyard, it's really not a technique that you want to drop on somebody. It can cause a lot of damage, so let's be careful with it. But hands up on guard, you can do it from a fighting stance or from a horse stance. Let's do it from a fighting stance since we've been doing all of them like that. Raise your hand nice and high like you're reaching for something. And I want you to think like you're pulling down. Now as you pull down, let your whole body just drop and sync with that. So right now I'm pretending there's a board right here, and I'm going to raise up nice and high and drop that elbow down. When you get to combination 18, that technique's going to be going to someone's back. So make sure you're careful. So let's do it one more time. Raise the arm up and we drop. There! Right from there. So here are our hand strikes. We have our backhand. Bam. We have our ridge hand. We have our rising elbow, and we have our dropping elbow coming straight down. Excellent. I look forward to seeing you guys in class. We'll be working on that in the bag.
All right, kicking techniques for purple belt. There's only 2 kicks, and they are kind of the same kick. It's a crescent and a reverse crescent. The only difference between the kick and the foot position is the direction. The foot position is the same. The circular motion is the same. It's just which direction I'm going to go. I'm either going to go outside or I'm going to go inside. Now, the first kick that we're going to do is called the crescent kick, okay? Now, think of a crescent moon, a hooking moon. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my right leg back, with my hands up on guard. I'm going to use my rear leg. Now, the way I'm going to position my foot is almost as if I'm walking on the sides of my feet. That's the way my foot is going to connect when I do a reverse crescent kick or a crescent kick. When I do a crescent, I'm actually going to hit with the bottom of the foot, almost like I'm slapping somebody 5. My knee is going to come up. I'm going to do a circle, and my leg is just going to come back. So I'm going to come into my chamber, circle my leg around, and then come back. Now, a good place that we can strike with this is to the kneecap. We can go to the ribs, or if I have good flexibility, I can come up to somebody's face. And I'm just hitting with the bottom of that foot. So Sensei Jason holds the pad. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come up through the pad, like almost I'm just slapping it 5. My knee's going to come up, circle it through, and then come back. You can hold up nice and high. Set, snap it up with my crescent kick. So as I'm hitting with the bottom of the foot as the foot's angled in. Our next kick is a reverse crescent kick. Reverse crescent kick is the same kick. With that rear leg again, you're holding my foot in the same position, almost as if I'm standing on the sides of my foot. Now I'm hitting with the blade of my foot. My leg is just going to come from the outside, from the inside out. It's going to circle the opposite direction. I can go low to the knee, I can go to the body, or I can come up to the face. That's the one that you see in like all the Chuck Norris movies when he does the spin, and he spins around. That's a reverse crescent kick, okay, or a spinning reverse crescent kick. And we're going to actually have that as a requirement up in the high ranks thing. Green belt or brown belt, we're going to do some spinning techniques. Sensei Jason's going to hold the pad for me, and I'm just going to come up the opposite way. My foot's just going to loop around and hit with the reverse crescent. So from here, snap it up. Excellent. Good. Those are our 2 kicks, crescent and reverse crescent kick. Now, as I said before, Sensei Jason said maybe he throws a punch at me. So I can either come into the kneecaps with a crescent or a reverse crescent, to the ribs, to the body, or even to the face. Boom, and coming through. Excellent. Those are our kicks from purple belt. All right, there's only one fall technique that we have for purple belt, and that technique is a dive roll. Okay, it's going to be a little bit of a combination of what we did with white and what we did in orange with the walking and then into the roll. And let's show it right now. What we're going to do is we're going to have something in front of us and we're going to actually dive over it. Maybe a pad, it could be a garbage pail, it might be a hole in the street. And if I'm doing my roll, I don't want to roll in it or on it. I want to go over it. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk, I'm going to plant my foot before my obstacle, and I'm going to put my hands above my head. Those are going to be my feelers. As I do that, I'm going to just do a regular forward roll, but it's got to put a little bit of a jump into it. Now, because I'm giving it such impact and such strength as I'm moving, I'm going to catch myself with my hands. And I'm going to tuck it. I'm just going to use my momentum to shoot me over. So as I'm jumping, my hands touch the ground, I absorb, I roll, and then I come up, and I'm rolling over on my shoulder. Now, this could be one thing, it could be 5 things. No matter how high this is, it's the same motion. I'm just using my legs to explode. I jump, catch myself, and then I roll over. And that's our falling technique for purple belt. One One pinion is our first form. The word pinion means peace of mind. What a pinion or a form is, it's a collection of moves that shows us fighting multiple attackers. It teaches us how to put power into our blocks and our strikes while we are moving. In one pinion, there are 20 half moon stances. And that half moon stance that we're going to be doing is the most essential fighting stance. Also, if you even just look at my footwork, that when I do one pinion, you're going to notice that it repeats itself over and over again. Now let's begin one pinion. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bow, front position facing front, stepping out with our right foot. We're going to roll out our knuckles, sink down deep with dragon breath. We're going to come to a left cat, turn towards the left, downward block, half moon forward, front two knuckle punch. Turn to the right, downward block, front two knuckle punch. Always keeping whatever foot forward is the hand that's forward. Now towards the front, 3 punches, 2, 3. Now we're going to do our super block. Our left hand's going to come up. We're going to turn all the way to the left. Half moon punch forward. Good. And then we're going to turn all the way to the right. Half moon punch forward. And now we're going to block down towards that left, towards the back now. 3 punches. 1, 2, and 3. Now that big block again, we're going to turn all the way to the left. Block down. Half moon punch. And turn all the way to the right. Block down. Half moon punch. Now we're going to step out to the left into a left horse stance. Sink down, right foot comes in, and bow. Okay, let's start with our bow. And we're going to step out to the right. And just to remember, whenever we half moon, whatever leg's in front right now, that's the hand I want in front. So if you're stepping out with the left, you're blocking with the left. Stepping out with the right, you're punching with the right. Turn and punch. And remember, one pinion is like a capital I. We go one way, then the other way, then we go up the middle right now. Good. As we do our big block or our super block, we turn to that left and we punch. Now we're making the top of the I. And then we punch, and now we go back down the middle. Whas, good. And then 3 punches. 1, 2, 3. Like we're tracing back over it. And then we turn to one side, block all the way to that left, and punch with that super block. And turn and block and step in and punch. And remember, key thing, hands up on guard, sinking down deep in our stances, focusing, and just doing it nice and slow until we have it nice and strong.
Combinations for our rank is combination number 8 and combination 18. Okay, we're going to start up with combination number 8. Okay, let's actually do it in the air first, since it's already you and I. We're going to do a good fighting stance, hands up on guard. We're going to start with a wing block that we learned in one of our previous ranks back at Orange Belt. So we do block number 2, open hand, or a wing block. My right leg is going to be a snap kick to the groin. I chamber and bring it right back down. Now the person's bent over, his head is open, roundhouse kick, and then I cross and I cover. You always want to cross and cover when you're throwing a powerful kick. You've got to regain your balance. Let's do it one more time. Ready? So hands are up. I'm going to do my wing block. Remember, think of that as a strike as opposed to just the block. I'm going to hurt this person's arm. So he comes in, he punches, bam, I snap his hand away. Now I give him a shot to the groin. Bam, right back down. His head is down. It might seem like it's hard to kick someone in the head, but you know what? It's not when their head's down. Roundhouse kick, cross, and then I cover. Okay, let's see how it looks on somebody. Face each other. Hands on guard, since Ray punches in. I am going to block to knock his arm away. Snap kick, his groin is open. Look where his head is. It's nice and low now. Roundhouse kick. And then I'm going to cross and I'm going to cover. Let's do it one more time. So here comes the punch. Ready? Hands are up. Here he comes. I block, snap kick, roundhouse kick, cross, and cover. So I have my balance. Combination 8. Let's move on to combination 18. Okay, here we go. We'll do it together just like we did before, Sensei, right? Hands on guard, punch comes in. Now when the punch comes in this time, I don't want you to step straight back. We're actually going to step kind of at a back angle. So we're actually going to step to the side and back. And when he comes in, I'm going to go into that cat stance, and then I'm going to go into my downward block using the palm of my hand. I want to hit the inside of his arm, knocking that hand away. That's going to open up his head. I step in, there's my backhand strike. If you remember, we did that in strikes before, earlier in the belt. I'm going to grab the back of his neck, I'm going to step up, and as I do that, I'm going to push him down. His back is nice and flat right now, just like a table. I'm going to raise my arm. Here's that dropping elbow strike, and now we're going to throw our reverse hammer strike to the side of the head. Let's do it one more time. Hands on guard. Here comes the punch. Cat stance and block. Backhand strike as I come forward. I push him down, raise the elbow, reverse hammer strike. Okay, let's see how it looks on somebody. Hands are up. I step. I block off to the side. I step in, I'm going to place, now if I hit with the knuckles, I hit with the forearm, I just want to hit the side of his head, I want to move him. I'm going to push him down, here's my dropping elbow, and then my reverse hammer strike to the side of the head. Let's do it one more time just from a different angle so you guys can really see it. Hands are up, I step and block. This is perfect for sparring, guys. When you start sparring, it's going to be a quick block and move. Step in and strike. Push him down, here he is, look at this, nice and flat, I like this. Dropping elbow right to the mid-back, reverse hammer strike to his head. That guy is done. Ready? Very nice, guys. Combination 8 and 18.
The jiu-jitsu technique for purple is the back choke headlock or the back headlock, okay, whatever you want to call it. But it's when somebody comes up behind you and they put their hand around your neck. Now, when that hand's around the neck, you got to be pretty careful because as quickly as Jason puts that hand around, he starts collapsing and I'm going to start losing my breath right away. Now, I got to remember, both of his hands, or even one of his hands, is just tied up. I'm tied up right now, so his defense is pretty much gone. So now I can go right into my back elbow that we learned. Set. I'm going to make a fist, I'm going to grab it with my opposite hand, and I'm going to drive it into his body. I'm going to do my first concept, hit to his body. After I hit to his body, then my hand just lets go, and I do that hammer strike to the groin. So right from here, since Jason grabs me, I'm going to step back, hit to the body, hit to the groin. Now, let's stay with that back elbow. My hand comes back, and I come up to his face. So 3 strikes in 1. As Sensei Jason grabs me, I'm going to hit, escape, hit. And this is really going to cause the escape. Hit, hit. And that's going to cause that escape. Set. My next technique that I could do is by controlling the arm. Okay? And there are many things I can do. I mean, there's many things that we're setting up. And Sensei Jason grabs me, I have control of his arm right now. Even if he has that hand there, 2 hands are stronger than 1. So put my strike in, stop on his foot, something to loosen him up. Take both my hands, and I'm going to pull down on his arm as hard as I can. As I do that, this hand, as I do that, I step out with my right foot, and I turn this hand over, and I grab his wrist. As that happens, I can drive Sensei Jason down to the ground. And then to finish off, I can snap the shoulder, give a kick on the way out. Just controlling the arm. And there's other things I can do. I can use that arm against him. Okay? He's put that arm on me, now I can roll underneath, and now look, I have him into a chicken wing. Set? Or I can put him into maybe an arm bar. I put my hand underneath and put him into an arm bar. Okay, set? Or I can just snap his wrist. Where he is, oh look at this. I can put him into a back chokehold headlock. And I have control of his arm. He doesn't have an arm to strike me with now. Many things that we can build up on, and these things we will go over in class. But our jiu-jitsu technique for purple belt is the back headlock jiu-jitsu.
Now, in addition to board breaking, sparring at these ranks, we're also getting into how to defend ourselves against other weapons. Okay, and we're actually going to start with the club. All the club is just a pipe, it's a bat, it's some kind of weapon that someone's trying to come after you with. We're not worried about bladed weapons right now. We're worried about something that someone can just pick up anywhere, a stick, like I said, a pipe, a baseball bat, anything of that nature. And what we're going to start with is an overhead club attack. Okay, so someone's going to be coming in and swinging, trying to hit right to the top of your head. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind on a club attack. When Sensei Ray comes into attack, if I stay right here and I try to block the actual club, I'm safe, but you know what? I possibly just broke my arm. Okay, and even though I'm fine, it's probably going to come back and hit me with something else, and I am going to be hurt. So I have to make the decision right away. Do I want to come in, or do I want to escape? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in right now. So when he starts to come in, I'm going to take a step in toward him right now. All right, I want to cut the distance right now. I want to block that arm, not his club. And I want to get close to that elbow to tie him up a little bit. So when he starts to come in, I'm going to use that X block we did at white belt. So here he comes. He comes in, bam, I step in, there's my block. My head is safe. Even if he let go of the club right now, it would fall past me. It would not be falling into me. What I'm going to do now is, now that I'm safe, I'm going to take my right hand, and I'm going to grab the side of his arm, and I'm going to swing it back into him. Okay? If you ever went bowling, think of bowling right now. I'm taking that ball, and I'm striking it straight in. I'm guiding his arm back into him. In fact, I want him to hit me as hard as he can, because he's actually going to hurt himself. I'm not going to hurt him. I won't feel bad. He's hurting himself. So he comes in, bam, there's my block. I swing it into him. Now, you know what? I want to make sure I finish the job. I want to make sure I'm walking out of here nice and safe. So I'm actually going to finish this with combination number 7. I'm going to chamber my knee. I'm going to side kick the back of his knee so he's down to the ground, and then I'm going to cross and cover. And at this point, I can go home, I can run, I can tell my parents what just happened, or a teacher, or a police officer, or anyone that I see. I can let them know what just happened. Now keep in mind, there's so many different techniques you can do from this, and all your instructors can help you with that. There's not just one technique. This is just one I'm showing you right here. Some of the higher belts, if you're looking at this video also, this one might look familiar. He comes in, and I'm actually going to block, and I'm going to wrap up his arm and start to turn. So now actually I'm going to end up wrapping up his arm, tearing his shoulder, tearing his elbow right from here, and now I would have the club back from him. Okay, so there's a lot of different techniques that you're going to find. A very simple one, if you just don't know what to do, you can't think that quick how to block and swing the arm, start with a block. Take it one step at a time. It's kind of like the grass. Block, strike, escape. All right, so he comes in. I'm going to block it, and you know what? Maybe I'll just use that poke, or I'm going to use some other strike, or roundhouse elbow across his face from here, and I'm going to take off right from here. So it can be very simple also. So when he starts to come in, I'm going to block, bam, strike right from here, and I'm nice and safe. But you know what? I'm going to let your instructors in your classes kind of help you out with that, since there are so many options. Please be careful.
All right, guys, let's get ready. We're going to do some board breaking now. Things you've been waiting for. You've been in your white belt class. You see the purple belts and blue belts come in. You see them do board breaking, and all you're saying to yourselves, wow, I can't wait to do that. Well, here's your opportunity. What we're going to do is, Sensei Jason's going to hold, and we're going to do it with a front ball kick today. Now, the most important thing about board breaking is whenever you hit the board, you can't just hit the board. You have to focus like you're going through the board. So when Sensei Jason's holding the board, let me see you hold the board, Sensei Jason. I want to take my foot and I want to drive it through, okay? So I'm not going to hit the board. I'm also going to hit Sensei Jason in the chest. And we're going to do it with a front ball kick. That's the requirement, okay? Or really any kick at purple belt. We'll do a front ball kick today. What I'm going to do is I always aim for the center of the board. My right knee is going to come up, and I'm going to touch the middle for 1. I always take 2 warm-ups. 2, and then I'm going to do my 3rd break right through. Nice, strong, and you always have to key eye, let that energy out, lots of energy, lots of power, ready, and right through. Well, as you get higher, you guys will be doing 2, 3, 4 boards, and you guys will be doing it with all different strikes. That's our purple belt material. Now remember, we also have a rule, integrity or character. Both meaning the same thing, both meaning always telling the truth or being honest with yourself and others. You're only as strong as your word. I'll see you guys on the purple belt, on the blue belt tape, and keep practicing.